2, 1.
Well, good evening. We'd like to call the meeting of the Templeton Community Preservation Committee to order. We all have an agenda here. First item, this is the May 2024 meeting. We have the meeting minutes from April 11th to discuss. That Jessica has provided us in advance, as well as a copy here today. Everybody can be familiarized that needs some time. And those that don't.
Make a motion, we'll accept them.
Motion made by Dennis to accept,
I'll second.
seconded by George. Any discussion? Look fine to me. Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Me.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. They're approved. Admin update.
I have no update. I'm good.
Update from Jessica, who did a fine job on our coordinating everything that we do here. Okay, next item is CPC Finances.
So I provided you the financial report, which includes all your project accounts and the larger buckets.
And as everybody knows, those items that have zero in there now will disappear at the end of the fiscal year.
Which is end of June.
And we fully expect, hopefully the drape restoration, that may not be till after the new year, that there's just a little bit of money left. They have some finished follow-up work to do at the Grange Hall.
But that Dwelly Farm one for 390, that's gonna get closed
Will
out.
be gone.
Yep.
We believe the Scout Hall will be done. I don't know if they're having a formal announcement, but it looks like they're nearing completion on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you'll also notice that we have in our administrative account a balance of $13,692.20. And as you all know, that at the end of every fiscal year, any unspent funds in the administrative account is allocated to the other accounts. And a new administrative budget starts with a new appropriation at the annual town meeting. So with this balance remaining, some of that will continue to pay for Jessica's salary for the next 2 months for the hours that we pay on her salary. But we have ample monies remaining that we could use either now or in June. And to that end, I wanted to bring to your attention that you also have 2 items in your packet that Jessica provided. The first one is for hail signs, a sign estimate. And as we've discussed, there is no sign acknowledging CPA funds used at the Stonebridge Conservation Area. There's a nice conservation sign that's required by the state for that. But in order for us to get this signed, Bob has gotten us a quote and is sent us a picture of it. Basically, that's what it will say in page 2. The conservation of this area has been supported in part through the Community Preservation Act and the voters of Templeton, the standard language that we need to use. So the quote for this is $298.99. So I think it would be an appropriate use of our administrative budget to pay this bill.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Mike and seconded over here to pay for that. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dennis?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
George?
Yep.
George?
Yes.
John? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. Very good. The other item that you'll see is got the heading of Grace or Graz Engineering.
Yep.
Agreement for limited professional services. We've spoken about the Houghton Park project. We had that master plan allocation of funds where we hired engineering firm to come up with the master plan. And one thing, the outcome of that was a need to have like a topographic survey done so they could get all the elevations across the parcel. So as they develop the next level of planning, they'll be able to know the grades for both the ADA issues as well as the drainage and things like that.
Correct.
So there was a balance remaining in that account.
$1,058.92.
And the fee, and so the quote is for 1,700. So the difference is
$641.08.
So if we were to expend that much money from our administrative budget, we could also move this forward and get the topographic survey done.
So moved.
So I think the motion would be to take from the administrative account the funds required to come up to the balance requested.
$641.08.
Yeah, and hopefully that price is firm for the, let's see, 422, so it's pretty new. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was Mike was made that motion, was there a seconded by George? Any discussion on that? So $641.08 is what we're short out of the project budget for the $1,700 request.
Oh, okay.
So they requested $1,700 to do a topographic survey. And there's $1,000 and some odd dollars remaining, so we need $641 to be done. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Dennis,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
John, yes, Mike,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
sorry, Candace.
Yeah.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. So that was all that I was gonna say regarding the finances. Is there any other comments or questions? We will talk about projects and there will obviously continue to be money spent, but
I have a question. At what point do we take the remaining monies in the admin account, divvy them up into the other accounts? Does that happen before the new fiscal year or after the new fiscal year?
it's an accounting activity done by the town account.
So the board is like,
We don't have to do that. It's a requirement. Jessica will make sure it's done in a timely fashion.
Do we have a balance on that account after these two expenditures?
Well, $13,692.20.
Yeah, that was the
Yep,
initial.
so minus 298.99 and then minus 641.08. So minus about $900 from it.
Yeah, 12,792-ish.
Yep.
And then there will be probably at least another
4 more pay periods.
and each one is about, I don't know, so it's a couple thousand more, most, at the most. So we'll be rolling over about 10 grand is my estimate. So if there are other administrative issues that come up that we can foresee, we have next month's meeting to expend it. And of course, better to spend it while it's available
In that bucket.
in that bucket, otherwise it'll be coming out of next year's bucket, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're good on CPC Finances?
Yep.
All right, so current projects. Candace, do you want to give us an update on
Which one?
all of your stuff?
Well, Monday night we have our meeting, just, Parks and Rec, and we are going to, go over the park. Graceland has informed me that we can make everything work, and stay within the budget, and still be, compliant for, I can't think of the term.
EDA?
Yes, so, with the, playground, there was some concerns with that, but she figured it all out, and it looks good, what she sent me, so we think we'll be good. Yeah, so we just wait until July 1st and just moving along and waiting. And then we have the pickleball tennis court. Everybody's excited about it. I'm really tired because everybody stops me all the time and asks me about it and has an opinion about it. I'm currently working on how to schedule people into it, but for the most part, it has been waiting for the next part, which is the next coat, and then it'll be like a, then it gets to the lining stuff, but the bulk of it has been done. The fencing is in. We all took a tour. Everybody
And
got
if I
to see
may,
it.
you submitted the invoice and that's getting paid today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I made
the
sure
big
that
one, the over
I
$100,000
had Mr.
one.
Dixon and
Yep.
I asked Bob to look through and walk through to make sure everything looked okay. And I didn't get anybody to tell me it's different, so. Because I wanted to make sure it was all done. There is one slight issue with the project that has come up to my attention, because I've been involved in it 3 different episodes. They put a fencing in where the basketball court is to extend and it's too low. and the ball keeps on coming over. So when you're driving, all of a sudden it comes out at you and it's kind of scary. So I've asked Bob to look at it and to address it, to try to figure it out. I've asked the company to give me any kind of price on how to lift that higher because it's very dangerous and it was very scary when it happened to me. I was in 3 different people's cars too, so it's like not the same drivers. It's just way too low. It should have been the same as the tennis court. It should have been the same height.
So was that done as part of the pickleball court, the whole
The
deal?
project, yeah, and it's too low.
Okay, so that could be an item that perhaps we need to figure out how it could be addressed, and it could be, you know, an administrative oversight that if we needed to,
Okay.
if there was no other funds, possibly we could discuss using some of that residual administrative monies for that.
Yeah, I've asked the company how I asked the fencing company if there's a way to fix this issue. And they asked me how high, and I said it really needs to be as high as the pickleball court one. So it's like this one, it's like another, the set that's there, you take that and you double it up, brings you up to the top of the pickleball court. That's how low it is. They're playing, literally I stand in front of it, it's low. I'm, not a tall person, so. And it came out, and I'm just worried with the buses driving, with the kids, when and different people, the last car that I was in, the ball, literally, the person stopped and the ball was literally at the lights of the car, like touching the car. I mean, a couple.
Okay, so
more.
we definitely want to see that resolved.
Yeah,
And let's see, the bathrooms, oh no, that's Grange Hall bathrooms, we're all done with them.
Yeah. ours, yeah.
So I think that's it for the Parks and Rec for now, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about our site visits last week? Looked at
Well,
the map.
basically, I think, we'll just briefly indicate that, the progress is being made on the other projects. There's new activity at Dwelly Farm. The Grange Hall bathrooms are gonna be completed soon. That may end up with a balance that could get unspent and come back to the other committee, the other buckets. The cupola, I believe, went out to bid,
Yep, I believe so,
and
but I'll follow up with that.
the other only issue, Bonneville School project is a long ongoing project that they're still lining up all their ducks. The Bonneville Library has begun to expend some funds
Mhm.
towards reworking the wiring and the rehabilitation of that. And finally, at the 2 projects for Stone Bridge are really contingent upon the town meeting article where the townspeople are being asked an opinion whether they want to discontinue the Stone Bridge or not. We can talk about that at the town meeting item, but that's all I want to say about the current projects. Anything anybody else want to say?
Oh, I thought they came up here for the cupola the other day. It was,
I know they went out to bid and but I don't know
There
what.
was something with a truck or something in a memo about us driving in, and they were up there looking at it. Someone was looking at it.
Do you have anything new on that?
No.
The
The cupola?
Yeah, there was a truck here or something. They were up there looking at it or something. They were doing something with it. 'cause
Maybe
it
they
was-
wanted a bid on it and. we'll
I
have
don't
to
know. We
look
got
at it.
all I know is we got a memo about it, not to come into that way because there was gonna be a truck. Or maybe it's not happening.
Justice says.
Oh, what do you,
Yeah, no, they were, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, they were, all of us were informed at town hall on Tuesday, I believe it was Tuesday morning that they had come down to, do an inspection. Prospective bidders for looking at it and looking at the
Oh.
town website right now, the invitation for bid is online, so the instructions are there.
Okay, so that was somebody looking at the job to bid on it.
Cool.
So it's out there, but it's not, it's open now.
Yep, I see it on the website.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on then. The next item would be annual town meeting.
I provided you a copy of the specific CPC articles that will be heard at town meeting.
Yep, and as a reminder to everybody, we have our budgets, which is breaking it down into the anticipated income and then the percentages allocated to the different accounts. And then the Grange Hall is a $50,000 project request for the ADA lift, which would make the upstairs where they've done so much good work fully accessible. As we indicated, the ADA bathrooms are virtually done. And then the next item, Article 11, is $331,700 for the First Church of Templeton, the historic exterior renovation. And then Article 12 being the CPA funding for emergency management building. And that's something, that's the Baldwinville, Old Baldwinville Fire Station where the Templeton Emergency Management Team works out of, and that is to move it forward to get it ready for appropriate bids in the future. And then the other article that I mentioned is, I believe, the final article on the warrant where it's an informational one. It doesn't directly affect us other than the fact that it's asked the townspeople what their opinion is on the discontinuation of Stonebridge Road. Ultimately, I mean, that monies are available to do something down there, but that needs to be addressed before going forward. Any questions or comments?
Could the CPA funds that are currently reserved for Stonebridge be used regardless of how the vote turns out? Like meaning could they be used for a conservation area pedestrian bridge or vehicle bridge or?
The
is it
vehicle bridge
certain?
would be paid for by vehicle bridge processes, which is, chapter 90 or state funding. But in a pedestrian bridge that accompanies it or some portion of that would fit within the framework of what we've approved by the townspeople, which could include, a kayak launch, parking areas, all amenities towards the recreational component of it and the open space component.
So the 34,000?
There was two buckets.
two of them?
Yeah,
with
that's a
that on
total
it.
of 80, some
Yeah.
80.
What's the other one?
34 and 49.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You could totally do something with that to get it fixed.
Well, to get the bridge back to driving condition is $800 to $1 million.
No, I meant like if you do the walking one, like the
Yeah.
recreational one, we could totally do something with what we already have.
Right, we even have
Voted
plans for
for.
that shows different scenarios and
good.
so, yeah, that. And even if there is a mission towards making it a continuated road, it's gonna be 5 years before they have enough money for that.
Yeah.
You could still do something
With this.
outside of the right of way of the road. With a pedestrian type bridge, as opposed to right over the driving path.
So even if they change their mind, you could still do the pedestrian, you just would do it a little bit over in case they wanted to put the road in. I guess you
You'd
could.
have to get approval from,
Yeah,
Mass DOT.
that's what I was thinking too. We should do the possibility in the future we'll going to that.
Unless the select board votes to discontinue the road or whatever the process is,
Yeah, but that might be out of our,
certainly out of our domain.
right.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, yeah, but then you could have possibility.
That's
the
something we should
possibility.
consider so we might have to reconsider the engineering and what could be done. There is potential that some abutters may have an ability to, provide access or easement for a walking
Yeah,
bridge.
I don't want to do it twice. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in limbo. And if it's sometimes it's, so that's next year's problem. Next year's. Yep. Okay, anything else to discuss about annual town meeting?
It's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, 6 p.m.
That's soon.
Any potential projects we want to talk about? No, okay. Any chair comments or member comments? No, I blew right by there, but if anybody really does have a project they want to discuss.
We'll have tons of projects that are waiting. I went through on the fencing and the dugouts. I went through capital and presented it. It didn't get approved, but I have a lot of dugouts and a lot of fencing that needs to be replaced that's dangerous and
Well, we'll certainly look forward to having you guys pull that together as to what you're looking forward to doing. And everybody loves to see open recreation areas that are safe and contained. So
yeah.
does anybody else have any? Yes,
Years ago, we talked about the rail trail. I don't know, I know it's pretty dead now, but it would be nice if we could do something with that.
which rail trail?
The old rail bed,
The DCR, that's their
Oh,
problem. What are we gonna do? Pay for the state to do something?
well, there are organizations that do develop old rail trails. I don't know if there's anything feasible or It's just, you know, we've got a lot of issues to deal with there, but other communities have, like Leominster and Pittsburgh. So,
Yes, and you
None
saw
of
those
it's possible.
nicely paved rail trails.
Yeah, we were looking into doing some kind of a walking, you know, the current trails that are like near River's Edge and stuff, and doing like a kind of a map thing and putting some maps out for people. We were looking into that for next year, possible grant on that for the town, but I don't think we'll need CPC funds if we can get a grant on that.
Yeah, or with any grant that there may be a matching with.
Match, yes, possible, yes, that would be, we would put it in our wheelhouse again, yeah, as a CPC.
The DCR is involved with building rail trails around the state, so that's a beautiful one. If they could, if somebody could ostensibly do it.
there goes, the other end of it goes all the way up through into New Hampshire.
Yeah, it could connect with, there's a trail that comes down from the Grange
Right,
into Winchton.
and also up in the Keene. That little boy up in the Keene. There's on the other end also, there's a lot of work that's been done too, so.
Yeah, well, that's certainly something, and then another thing to keep in mind is, you know, when the state has a priority to do things, that they might have money that we could leverage to pursue. The question is, you know, are you gonna do, you know, what is the, like, as soon as you go to a full-blown rail trail, you know, it's gonna be all paved.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond our capacity to do it, but
We could really support it and.
could explore getting some other agencies.
And that
involved.
trail from Baldwinville to Williamsville would be a pretty easy trail to make turn into a paved trail, just because it's pretty flat and it's not too badly damaged. But yeah, it's something.
Part of
You mean that
goes-
one through Dennison?
Part of it goes
well,
out
it
through
comes,
Birch Hill area, out through,
goes down behind Narragansett. and
Oh, that, the one that goes in the Ballville.
yeah,
Yeah, that's one they use now is.
but it also goes from there on
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes all the way to Williamsville and obviously.
So that, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because that reminds me that we did have some discussion from the Narragansett School District about. They're looking to
Redo the track.
redo fields, to build some fields, ball fields. To the south side of where the baseball field is now. They've cleared off some land. And they're starting to go back to getting that to be practice fields, and they're looking to perhaps develop a girls softball field there, so that they wouldn't have to go to you know, Gilman Way. So they are looking, Jessica and I met with them. She gave them the materials for our CPA. We talked about what they can and could possibly do, and they're trying to figure it all out. And of course, that being a regional school, we would probably want to reach out to Phillipston to see if they would want to be a participant in that, you know, as they have CPA funds as well. So it's all preliminary, but there's been some discussion about that, and actually it's surprising how big of an area it is. And you know, the drainage, you know, has historically been, you know,
It used to be the septic system for the school over there. And that was, years ago, we discussed that when they were putting the town water in there. You realize the town water and sewer down there is 28 feet below the road?
yes, it's.
And now the discussion with that was the old septic system, so we'd have to be careful out in that area.
Well, that would be a closely
Yeah.
monitored project with conservation.
Yes, that's my history. so.
Well, you've got a lot of it, and we're glad to have it shared. So we're gonna have another big year, you know, we're closing a few projects off. We've got a couple of big ones, well, one big one with the church potential, and then potentially, you know, finishing up at the Grange Hall. And then, you know, our funds are not as significant as they have been, but we are getting more, again, so it's always good to keep looking for what we're gonna do in the future. There's other items on the agenda, like the MEMA building, this, that, and the other thing, you know, that will need to be done, so.
Can, I was gonna ask, tracks, a revamp of a track, that's not, you know, that's a project that the two towns can go into too. if they found other funding to go on it. I think that would be more pressing for Narragansett is the track issue than a ball field that we already have in town, which,
They have a
Silly.
group that is, you know, moving forward with the track issue. But that is potentially something that could
well,
be
it's
brought
just,
forward.
it's just people talking about it, taking some pictures of it. But, yeah, tracks are a lot of money and,
Yeah, and essentially, if you look at the, you know, the rulings of what's allowed and what's not allowed, it's virtually most outdoor endeavors are allowed through recreational component of CPA,
Right.
except for artificial turf. You know, that's like the taboo. But projects still could have artificial turf, but they have to find a different funding source.
for that turf part of the
Yeah.
project, yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so,
I just didn't know if revamping a track, that's already like, you know, if they pull out the footprint of it, you know, how does that affect, it? Like, you know, a resurfacing project versus, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, so it would have to be like a rehabilitation or a rebuild
That's
as
what I
opposed
thought.
to maintenance.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And it sounds like they may need a rebuild. I don't know much about it, but
Wallenville Road's a great place to watch all those track kids go up and down the street during busy time,
rush hour.
right by my house.
Yes, any other comments or discussion points? Yes,
720, Nikki Blum commented, I like the idea of the rail trail.
okay. Well, certainly that's something we'll be doing some exploration of to see what it needs to be. I mean, it's kind of a rail trail now, but it's not a, you know,
Yeah,
developed
well,
one.
you can figure out which permit and, you know, we send that, you know, where that goes, if that's like. If it's not, if it's property owned by the state, you know, or something like that, then it's there in the ball wheel, but how do we, like, do people send a
Well, I'm
letter?
very familiar with
ask about it?
the
I
whole
don't know.
process of rail trails. My wife has developed many miles of rail trail for the East Quabbin Land Trust on land that they have acquired as opposed to land which the state had, and that included rebuilding bridges and all this other rigmarole. So here we have one that's in pretty good shape. I mean, that bridge down there that you were talking about by Bronze Pump, that would probably need to be redone or whatever, but
It doesn't really need much. I mean, they.
Well,
because
no
matter who you
someone
write to, I
comments,
tell 'em, ask
fixed
'em,
it up
call 'em.
good.
The only comment I would have on the rail trail is like every other project, there has to be a group that's gonna spearhead it. You know, random people talking at random times about doing a project is one thing. But you have to have an organized effort with an organized group to drive anything forward. I don't know at this time if there is a group that's exploring it. They would have to come to the CPC looking for funding. But, you know, if people are interested in the rail trail, they need to get a group together and develop it.
Yeah, you had
It's
all
not
those
our
snowmobiles that are buried, they come through here. They come all the way across by the candlelight, all that area, and they go out down Maple Street and they go down that railroad track into Winchton.
Yeah,
And they go
that's a
through
good
My,
Denison.
my only, in my opinion, we hear a lot of ideas.
Yes, I know.
But the ideas never get driven forward because
Right.
there's no group that sponsors them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So if there is a need for a rail trail and there are people interested in it, somebody has to organize into a group and drive it forward. Otherwise, it's just gonna be individuals talking.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Totally true.
Got somebody.
But this is a good place to start, to get a community discussion going, and if there are people that are of interest, we would welcome anybody who has interest in any of this to kind of direct it towards, you know, to let us know, and we could probably facilitate bringing a group together, or we could perhaps find, I mean, an organization. Like, I mean, the snowmobile people do a lot of work on that area already, you know, in the season. And they even go down there, they trim, you know, et cetera. So we would certainly want to be engaged with them as well. Anybody who has an interest.
They've already got gates set up that they seem to have been using. During, you know, that stuff.
Okay, so we'll always have, and then we'll look forward to our needs analysis meeting, and maybe we can have that as a topic, and that might be able to even spearhead some interest.
Yeah.
In attendance.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or discussion points under the member comments section of the agenda? The next item is, our next meeting is slated for June 13th at 7 p.m. And I believe that will be here. I don't think Scout Hall is ready to do any meetings there, but I'd like to have one over there someday.
Let's have it, so.
It was scary down there. Okay,
No, not my parking.
so there does not appear to be anything else on this agenda to discuss other than adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn
Second.
and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I-
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention?